We explain the nature of civilization. The Neolithic Revolution led to massive societal changes as humans moved from being hunters and gatherers and sheltering in caves and transportable shelters to living in villages and growing their own crops. The roles of men and women also changed, as did the decision-making process. Also, at some point, people lived in larger and larger groups. Governance and rules moved from a consensus of the group to a council of leaders or a chief. Also, as opposed to nomadic life where all things in the tribe were shared, the new reality of settlement was that each family began to accumulate their own wealth and possessions, which created a class system. People developed new tools to make work easier, like the wheel. The development of irrigation and better tools led to a surplus of crops, which led to new trading patterns outside of the village. Some civilizations found themselves in shortages, which led humans into open warfare. Through trial and error and migration, humans discovered the conditions for long-lasting agricultural civilizations. In the Eastern Hemisphere, river valleys fostered incredible amounts of growth. The large river systems provided transportation of crops, water supply for irrigation, hydration for animals, and fertile soil in the silt that was spread around by seasonal flooding. Sources say flood control became the reason for the formation of governments. In the Western Hemisphere, Mesoamerican farmers found rivers unnecessary as the humidity that existed allowed corn to grow in the lowland soil and the steppes of South and Central America. The development of complex agriculture, flood control, and irrigation led to common features we now know as civilization. The sources sum up civilization having 7 characteristics. The first of these was the organization of government. Leadership tended to move away from the community into the hands of a hereditary ruler claiming the right to rule by the divine will of the gods. In order to keep their power and order over the growing population, leaders created militaries, laws, taxes, and a bureaucracy. Another characteristic was defined religion. Most early civilizations were polytheistic, believing in multiple gods, and they built rituals around farming and the cycle of the seasons. Temples were built for sacrificial prayer to control weather or crop health. Priest classes became established to divine the will of the gods in terms of flooding and famine. Job specialization marked civilizations as not everyone could farm. Some people made pottery, some wove cloth, some made weapons. The rise of civilization also saw the rise of social classes based on wealth and level of influence. The structure was usually pyramid-shaped with a handful of wealthy people holding all the power, while a large group of peasant farmers fed the rest of the classes above them. Slavery was part of the lowest group. Arts and architecture flourished in civilizations as monuments, palaces, paintings, and jewelry filled the new cities. Large-scale public works projects were funded to build walls, bridges, and roads, increasing the size of the labor force and also the size and prestige of city-states. Civilization also created the notion of history as written language was developed for record-keeping. Much of the early stuff was pictograph-based, but civilization would lead to the alphabet.